Some breaking news from our ESPN senior insider Woj. The New York Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau has agreed on a 3-year contract extension that will take him through the 2027-28 season. The two-time coach of the year has been at the forefront of a franchise resurgence that includes the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference after a 50-32 record last season. Now the Knicks, they return a team with even higher expectations, and they hope to compete with the Eastern Conference elite here. You can see they've had a pretty good offseason. Coming off their most promising year in over a decade, as Stephen A. Smith knows well. They completed that Villanova core 4, Mikal Bridges. They're able to bring back OG Anunoby. Then the new governor of New York, Jalen Brunson, took a historic pay cut. Perk might have a little something to say about that, but guess what? He's not on the show today to help lock in this core. And now, of course, Tibbs gets his contract extension. Whew, it's been busy. The news, it doesn't stop. And neither do the spicy quotes. So let's just turn up those hot summer mics. For some reason, this Summer Levin starts playing in my head when we do this segment. Exactly. It happens so fast. Ramona, Chiney, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about Paul George. Okay. He was introduced as a member of the 76ers to the Philly faithful yesterday. But just before he took the stage with the Sixers, as they do in the modern age, he went on a podcast.
His podcast.
Threw some shade on his former franchise. Take a listen.
Coming back to LA, that was home when I first came back to LA, but it's not the same love. Because when I was in LA, they like, man, you should have been a Laker. That's all I was hearing. It wasn't no like, oh, welcome to the Clippers. Yo, we happy you in LA, but you should have been a Laker.
You was on the second team.
I'm on the B team.
He said he was on the B team. Okay, so both the Lakers and Clippers, they're not necessarily the premier cream of the crop in the Western Conference. But Ramona, let's just take a long view here. Maybe like the next 5 to 7 years.
Ooh, child.
Who do you think has a better chance of winning a title first of these two franchises?
I'm going to go with the Lakers just because they still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
They're not going to in the 5. I mean, okay, so you're talking like 2 years. You're talking now. All right.
LeBron keeps playing like this, okay? But to me, the Clippers basically hit the reset button by letting Paul George go. They said, we are dealing with reality. Yep. This group had 5 cracks at it. They didn't win. We're not going to keep doubling down on an aging group that can't stay healthy with guys in their mid-30s.
Fair.
We'll see if that works out because they cashed in all of their assets to get Paul George.
Yep.
That was probably the cardinal sin of this whole Paul George, Kawhi Leonard era, was that Kawhi Leonard did not come to Los Angeles without Paul George. He was not going to come unless they traded for Paul George, which gave Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder all that leverage to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all those draft picks and all those pick swaps. If Kawhi would have just come, then they don't have quite as much leverage, and then they don't give up quite as much. And maybe when you come time now to think about trading for Harden or what you're willing to give up to the Golden State Warriors, maybe that's different.
You know, between these two, I'm going to say nobody.
I was going to say, is anyone
nobody, babe? Like, it's hard for me to say that either of these teams are realistic when it comes to champions because there's been a reconfiguration of the Western Conference. Yep. I mean, the Thunder, they're not going anywhere, and they've gotten improved. They're better. The Nuggets probably want to get back to their top spot. You've got the Mavs that just were in the NBA Finals. The list goes on teams that have improved. Yep. Now, when we look at Los Angeles, if it's a short term, I mean, I still have PTSD. Malika, from you and I picking the Clippers. Like, this is their moment.
With you.
I'm so sorry to
you just got roped in.
We both made the decision together.
I own that. We
looked at each other and we said, this is the year the Clippers can do it.
Yep.
And now Paul George is gone. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one, I would probably go with the Lakers because right now what I'm seeing from LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they still are able to do a lot even though they are trying to maximize on a short window with LeBron James.
I tease you all the time, but this one I'm good on you standing.
Thank you.
I really am. Doesn't that make you just want to grab a drink with a coconut in it?
Yes.
We're all talking
pineapple juice.
Coconuts lately. What was your summer superlative your superlative rather in high school, like your yearbook? Most likely to be president, most likely to
all of those.
Yeah, she was like
all of those.
I was like class president. She was every single. Well, since it's the middle of July, we thought that we would.
See that.
You know,
student body
when we get
I was a nerd.
When we get the braids, it's time for summer. We're all
mine are coming.
Head to the senioritis here, so we thought we'd kick around some summer superlatives. We're going to start with some over numbers, shall we? Because the Denver Nuggets, Philadelphia 76ers, Minnesota Timberwolves, they were all given the exact same win total, 52.5 by ESPN Bet. keep in mind, less than half of NBA teams went over their win total last season. So, Shanae, which of these teams is most likely to hit the over 53 or more out of those 3 teams? Nuggets, Philly, Minnesota.
I like Minnesota.
Okay.
This is a team led by a future, if not current, superstar in Anthony Edwards. And what we have found is that he took international competition a season ago seriously and it elevated him. He's going to do the exact same thing. You think he's just playing for USA? He's also stealing the playbook from LeBron, from KD, from Steph. He's one of those guys that learns from the best. Wasn't one of the favorite things that we've seen LeBron take over and 80s Ant Edwards is the first one running in his face like, that's my guy. I believe the T-Wolves are going to learn from their pain of the past and continue to improve.
All right, let's keep it moving, shall we? ESPN Bet also released the MVP odds for next season. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, they are the favorites, but right behind them in a tie for third, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, Ramona, which player is more likely to have an MVP season between these two?
I'm going to go with Shai. I think he was right. He was number 2 last year, and I think he would have had a stronger MVP case if he didn't get hurt at the end of the year where he would have been building on his momentum. But they finished first in the West this last year. It's like death taxes and Shai scoring 30. I mean, this man just wakes up and is a bucket. I think he's getting better. He's going to have the Olympic competition. Plus, now they have Alex Caruso out there with him to help defend and a lob threat in Isaiah Hartenstein. So I think it's Shai. If the Thunder do it, I think they're going to do this.
Well, since we're talking about odds, you know what may shift the odds? If we see player movement. There are 2 All-Stars that have been in trade chatter for the last couple of months for different reasons. Our front office insider, Bobby Marks, said that Chicago has been trying to move Zach LaVine, obviously, yet to find a suitor to do that. And then on the flip side, there are plenty of suitors right now for Lauri Markkanen. It's just whether or not Danny Ainge and the Jazz are really ready to agree to an offer here. So, Ramona, what player is more likely to get traded, do you think, LaVine or Lauri?
So we didn't put a timestamp on this one, okay? Because if it's before the season, it would be Lauri, but I'm not convinced that they're going to move him. I think they wait till August 6th when this is the day that he can agree to an extension, and if they don't have that, then they just keep him. I think he's very happy in Utah. They're happy with him, so they don't have to. Zach LaVine, that time has ended there in Chicago. They've started moving on. He's moved on. Like they're both sides are motivated here to get a deal done. The only issue is his contract because they don't want to have to incentivize the deal. But they let DeMar DeRozan go. This is a team that needs to start rebuilding. And as long as he can up his value when he gets out there, don't be surprised for a strong start from Zach LaVine, up his value, find a team that wants to invest in him.
But you know whose value is already high? Lauri Markkanen. And I do think that even though there are some situations or circumstances, as you've outlined, that make it more difficult probably for him to leave Utah, still he is very desired. And I think the biggest example of this, the Boston Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis. You saw the value of a tall guy, a stretch big that can knock down threes, that can finish at the rim. I think people saw that prototype. I know Golden State was probably like, we could use a guy like that. He was the X factor for Boston to get over the edge. I can see him being an X factor for other teams.
I'm with Shanae on this one. I just think that there's too many dance partners. There's so many dance partners out there for Utah, and right now we haven't heard of a whole lot for Chicago and Zach LaVine. All right, let's go from who can be traded to a man who just got a no-trade clause, LeBron James. He scored 11 points in the fourth quarter against Germany, and after coming up clutch, he celebrated with his patented, the dust shoulders off shrug. But look at Anthony Davis. He had to do it too, because he knew. And then Anthony Edwards.
That's what I'm talking about.
All the teammates knew exactly what was coming.
That's what I live for.
I mean, is this more iconic than the silencer?
I love this.
Look, I live for those types of clips, the passing of the baton. The silencer is it for me, but when I look at Ant Edwards being so excited about being in tag teaming with LeBron James, it reminds me of how excited he was to go up against KD. It's for moments like this, but the silencer, come on, y'all. I see kids in gyms, age 5 and 6, doing the silencer. They will soon be doing the shrug, but this is what made LeBron James. LeBron James, he silences the crowd, he silences the critics, and he continues to show up in a big level.